So some people in here are going to know the answer to this question. What is the fastest growing religious group in America? But no religious affiliation is the fastest growing religious group. If you look at this chart here, the yellow represents those who indicate on a survey that they are no religion. That not necessarily atheists, but just no religion. Maybe there's a God, but I don't really care, or I don't really know which religion it is. If you notice, in the age group between 18 and 29, that's where we're losing the battle. The older generation is holding the fort down. The baton, like I said, is not being passed down. All right, the red represents people who are affiliated with some religion. You may think, well, that's like 60-something% is still some religion, so that's good, right? But not too fast, because according to the Barna Study Group, we found that only about 19% of people who indicate on a survey that they are born-again Christian, only about 19% of them have a biblical worldview. So even though they may say they're a Christian, their answers to the questions on the survey are indicating that they don't really get it, right? This is what's going on in our country. The survey had questions like, there are absolute moral truths. The Bible is accurate in all that it teaches. And there are a lot of people who are saying, yeah, I'm a Christian, but I don't think the Bible is true in everything. I think it has errors. And so there are people who claim to be Christians and still have a watered-down view of the Christian faith. Now, some of them still claim to be Christians, but they will have this idea. They'll say, well, yeah, sure, Jesus died for my sins, but, I don't think miracles really happen. Sure, Jesus died for my sins, but, they'll have an unbiblical view of something like abortion or the social issues, same-sex marriage, or something like that. Or, yeah, Jesus died for my sins, but I think you can get to heaven through any other religion. These are the top reasons why young people say they're leaving the church, according to a 5-year study done by the Barna Group. So parents, pay close attention, because this is why young people say, after they graduate high school, when they don't want to go to church anymore, these are the top 5 reasons of why they say Christianity, or at least the church, is not for me. All right? One, they say the church is anti-science. Now, they're going to get that in college. The professors are going to say it's not scientific to be religious or something. And then another reason is they say, well, the church is exclusive. I don't like that it tells some people that they're wrong. That's what the church is doing. Or they'll say the church is intolerant. The church is not tolerating the new forms of sexuality or other religions. Now, 50 years ago, tolerance meant something different than what it means today. Tolerance today has kind of morphed into this other thing. It now means, well, you're not allowed to say that I'm wrong. That's what tolerance means. It's kind of what it means today, all right? Another reason is they say, well, we want to leave the church because the church is overprotective. Everything is demonized. Everything is wrong. Don't touch that, smell that, listen to that. Everything's bad, 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 right? Legalism, in other words. So be careful with legalism. If something is not a sin, don't call it a sin. Unwelcoming. They say the church is not welcoming. It doesn't welcome people who are different, or it doesn't welcome questions. And so we have to be ready to answer people's questions, or they're going to think that we're ignorant, that we don't have the answer, okay? In other words, young people are not convinced that the church is teaching them the truth. This is in general, okay? Next, many of your children and your grandchildren are actually, when they go off to college, they're going to have their faith severely challenged. And you need to be ready for that. The professors are going to say things like this. The Bible's full of errors in it, and it's irrational for you to believe in God. They're going to say, well, Christianity is intolerant and it's even evil. Now, when I was in college in the 1990s, there's this assumption that a lot of my professors had that Christians are just stupid, and you kind of feel sorry for Christians because they don't know any better. They think there's a God, they have an imaginary friend, but Christians are irrational. And then it's kind of become that, well, not only are Christians irrational, they're intolerant, and that's not very nice. Now, the new thing is to say, well, Christianity is evil. It teaches hate because you all hate homosexuals. You hate anybody who's different from you. You hate Muslims. You want everyone dead. It's not a Christian. It's like, well, that's actually not how I am. Okay? But that's kind of how we are perceived often